platforms. So yeah, if we can just go one by one, introduce who you are, and we'll go from there.
Hello, my name is Julien Torres. I'm from France, and especially from Bordeaux, the SFF Bordeaux, and all of us here are from SFF Bordeaux. So it's a 2D animation school, and we made this short movie during the 2 last years of our studies, and we wanted to talk about rape and woman condition in our society. So this is the purpose of our movie.
Great, thank you so much.
The title was Infemmes. Sorry. So it's a word in French for infamous. Is the equivalent, and femme is the equivalent of woman in English. So that's why we made this mix.
Oh, thank you so much. So Noah, would you like to introduce yourself and say something about the film?
Yeah. Hi. Can everyone hear me? Sorry. I'm Noah Kraemer. I went to Laguna College of Art and Design in California in the United States, and I made Deep-Seated Hatred, which is a comedy short film. Yeah, that's yeah.
So much. Charlotte, would you like to introduce yourself?
Is that me?
Yeah.
All right. My name's Charlotte, or Charlie, UK-based ex-student, recent graduate, and this film, Delete Machine, was my final year project, my final graduation film. Yeah, that's about it.
And Mikhail.
Hello, Mikhail. Mine was also graduation film. It was my last year of uni. It's Jelly Baby. It's a stop motion film. It's kind of a weird little, like, kind of funny, kind of creepy. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, we worked on it for a year, and then I spent the next year just editing it. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm having to look at an angle to read the names. I'm very sorry. Is that Nataša? Nataša? Sorry, I'm sorry, I forgot the pronunciation wrong.
Yes, it's Nataša. Hi, my name is Nataša. I'm from Serbia. This film, Dyslexia, is my master's film that I made during studying at the Faculty of Applied Arts in Belgrade. It's a film about this disability called dyslexia and how it feels to have it, and I wanted to show to everyone how to recognize it, and that's all.
And Fitriani. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Sorry, is it me?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Fitri. Currently studying at Melbourne, Australia. I'm a director of Little Hiccups. So a little bit about Little Hiccups. It's a story about all the strange little happening in our life and how I'm trying to explain it in a more like fantastical way through the little monster that just trying to like play around with you.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. So I'd just like to start by asking you guys some questions from Infemmes. So the film was made by 6 animators. What were the benefits and what were the difficulties by having so many people work on the film?
Alors, en plus, vous n'êtes pas présenté, vous. To work with six people was a very good thing because it's such hard work to do, and I didn't expect it at the beginning that it would be so hard to make just a 8-minute, 7-minute short film. So 6 people is a very good thing to do this, and we were all very complementary in our abilities in this. So because Jade and me were doing storyboarding, we all wrote the scenario. Nicolas was more on script and dialogue and animation. Lise did almost all the background, so all the landscape, cathedral, etc. Danae was on animation and FX, and Florian was on animation and compositing. So we were all very complementary on all these films. So it was a great experience, and we didn't meet any big argument during the process of the movie.
Oh, amazing, thank you. So I know you spoke a little bit about this before, but the film depicts 2 women from different times experiencing similar treatment. What interested you in exploring this?
So the interest of making this this movie with this 2 era of the 17th century and our modern era was to show that the difficulties that a woman can confront still are still the same, and even if people changes, there is still a lot of things to improve about this. So I don't know how to say much more about this, but because it's hard to explain everything in English. So, but I hope that you understand what I said.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So we're moving now on to Nataša for dyslexia. So yeah, I mean, obviously dyslexia is a difficulty that a lot of people suffer with. I do myself, and it is often invisible. So with the film, how did you go about like knowing what to include to show the audience what dyslexia was? How did you tackle that process?
Well, it was very difficult to decide what and how to represent some aspects. So first, I always wanted to represent it through combining 2 techniques. So I started with representing letters and dyslexia as letters from all the books and magazines and written text notebooks that I can find. I cut them out and animated them in stop motion. So then from that I started to think what can I do in stop motion that is possible with those letters. So that helped me kind of to think and choose the aspects to show. Through sound, I like implemented some like the chaos of inside while you're reading, like the chaos in your mind and stuff like that. I wanted to show it. It also has some how do I say it? I also wanted yes, to implement and the reading and the writing process. So that is why I combined it with the sound and with the visual aspect. Like the problems that I chosen were like the most, I think, common with the flipping of the letters, the feeling of overwhelmed by amount of texts, and so. Like,
Yeah. I totally get you.
I hope I answered.
No, you nailed it. Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, but you've pretty much answered my next two questions with that description anyway. I was going to mention, was there at any point, did you decide you were going to include any dialogue, or just you right from the get-go, did you always just think just those few words is all you needed?
Yes, I always thought it needed to have few words and like not coherent dialogue, because first it's complicated to do. I don't have a budget for it, and second of all, I don't. I didn't want it to like. Thought it was too much for the when I did the storyboard and stuff, that it didn't need words like that.
Well, it works very well.
Thank
you. Thank you.
So this is a question for Jelly Baby. It looks amazing, by the way. So the set design and the characters look intricately handmade. What was the process of creating the animation?
You mean the process for creating like all the items and stuff? Like a lot of work. Like,
yeah,
we spent ages just trying to figure out how to make, because I had a really specific idea in mind to make the walls look sketchy. So we spent ages doing loads of tests on all sorts of materials to see what would work best. It took ages, and then all the other items are like built out of as cheap materials as we could get, or like cheap wood. But like we went through so many different techniques, and also the characters themselves are like, a lot of it is because my friend Ben working on it with me, he has a really good skills with creating like puppets, so I was lucky enough to have him. But we had problems with that as well, and we ended up using like what's it called, armatures, like metal armatures for those. But yeah, it was a long process, took ages.
How long did it take to create everything overall, would you say?
Well, we had like a process because it was during uni, so it was like half a semester for pre-production, and then the other semester for, well, half a year for pre-production. So I think it took like a few months, but I can't remember to be honest. Like it took a long time though.
You did a brilliant job. So my second question is, Jelly Baby uses a lot of unconventional, gritty and dark comedic tone. Did you have any influences for this?
Influences for like the tone, it's kind of like it's kind of a mixture of like, there are those typical stop motion movies like Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas. Like those are obviously a huge inspiration for like a creepy stop motion short, but I love creepy stop motion shorts in general, so it kind of like is a mixture of that, but also a mixture of, this is gonna sound dark I guess, but like my own experiences in life, it kind of siphons into it, like, because it's supposed to be kind of like a nightmare in a way, so it kind of, that's where that comes from as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, great.
So this is for Little Hiccups, and really, what was like? Was it fun coming up with all the ideas of all the different hiccups to feature?
Well, it is fun, of course. But the idea itself is because some of the people around me, when you get into it, you find that little hiccups happening. They can go in a whole rage and just, get pretty much pissed for the whole day. So I kind of like want to find a way to help them with that. So even though something happened, you don't have to be like very stressed about it. Finding a playful solution to that kind of thing. It's like the way we accept the things that's happening, accept all the imperfection in life, and just be happy through all of it.
Yeah. Did you have like a list of scenarios to include, and did you cut any out?
Yes, actually, I have quite a lot of scenario. So I just go around all the things that's happening to me and then asking people what's been happening to them, even like weird things, almost magical kind of thing that I actually quite cut out quite a lot, because I want to find like that good balance between what can really happen and then a little bit of fantasy in it. So there's a lot of things happening to people, even something that is, I think, you might believe or not. that little things in it. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And also, like with the animation style being, quite a stripped back, subtle animation style, was that always your goal, or did you think about doing it more colourful at any point? And more.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of adding some color into it, but I did quite a lot of experiment what kind of style that I want to try out as well. But then again, I want to focus more in the character acting and the movement of them. So I end up just scrapping all of the color. And I think, yeah, just by making it more simple and just line art, people can see more about the movement of the character. And also I'm trying to make it also without dialogue, so it can be understood by everyone as well. I want it to be like a universal experience, that wherever you are, whoever you are, this is something that might be happening to you, and you can feel like you can connect with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Hi, Miriam. I've just seen you've just joined us. We loved your film, Dead Silent. Just wanted to know if we could ask you a few questions.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm a little late. And I seem to have the sun above me. There we go. Hi. Yes, of course. Hi.
Hi. So, what challenges did you face when exploring such a sensitive topic?
I think one of the biggest challenges that me and my co-writer Sean found was obviously trying to find sort of pin down an experience that a lot of people could relate to without being sort of overloading ourselves, I think, with trying to get in everything, but rather sort of just choosing those key points that we feel people would most connect with. So that feeling of being separate to everyone, the feeling of being sort of just drifting through your day to day, and not being able to speak to anybody. We thought those sort of key things would click the most.
Yeah. So with a sensitive topic, it gives a real life reflection of how someone might feel when they're grieving. Do you think the use of animation further allowed you to express that?
Oh, absolutely. We did face that question because we were doing this at the National Film and Television School, and our course leader, Robert, always likes to pose the question of, well, what does animation bring to this? Because in a sense, you could tell this story with live action actors, but I think there's two sort of reasons why animation helps. One is obviously you can break the laws of physics and send someone sailing through floors and filling up with liquid grief. And then the other one is, I believe that audiences find it easier to connect to an animated character. I think if it were Brad Pitt, acting in our role, you just see Brad Pitt, whereas actually an animated character is someone who they're human, but they're not quite human. And so, yeah, I think we can connect a lot easier.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. So the film was rotoscoped. What was the process of putting it together? And what was the intention of creating it this way?
Partly a time-based thing, partly a realism thing. I wanted to be able to capture all the tiny little facial movements and little tiny changes in expression that would make this feel really, really alive and human and keep that human aspect. And I think the more stylized it would go in the visuals, I think the more it would get taken away from the real lifeness that we wanted to capture. So the process of this film for rotoscoping, we didn't trace directly over live action footage, but what we had to do was, most of it was me in a very small room acting every single thing out, and then I would be drawing the keyframes for that. I would sort of either sketch a skeleton around myself and then fill in the gaps. Apart from obvious sequences like the tumbling through things, because my producer would have been very angry with me if I'd been jumping off things. But yeah. Yes, it was a very fascinating. It was sort of, we sort of tried to treat it like mocap, because it gives you a lot of freedom to create some really intense performances, but at the same time you can still then use animation to take it further than you could with a human.
Great, thank you so much for that.
Now to Noah with Deep-Seated Hatred. So, I mean, where to start? First question would be, so how did you settle upon the style? You know, I noticed obviously you've got some finished backgrounds and then some unfinished work on the characters, and I love that style. And what made you choose that stylistic choice?
Well, it really came down to time. We you know, at first, my department head had sort of had this idea that he wanted everybody to have a finished film within like a semester, and that didn't really pan out for him. But we got to a point where, and it was right in the middle of the pandemic kind of shut down and everybody being stuck at home. And so I had all these scans of my sketches and I couldn't like go into the school. And I finally just went in to Photoshop and started trying to color them by themselves. And the color process actually, you know, originally I was going to have like every article of clothing a different color. And the more I saw how sketchy it was, the more I thought about the old Pink Panther cartoons from the 60s and stuff, and how they had such an economy of color with how they would just block in one for like each character. And I thought that would actually really serve the sort of sketchiness of the line art and make that pop more. And yeah, it's sort of just when I saw the Pink Panther idea, it kind of just leapt from there to this whole sort of style. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then another question. So any actual villains inspire you for the character?
Well, I think in the actual credits, I thank Donald Pleasance, who famously played Blofeld in one of the James Bond films, and he's an amazing actor to begin with, because he's got this weird sort of just psychopathic stare in his eyes, and I always sort of loved him. But I always loved how they reveal him in that movie. He sort of spins around in this giant leather chair, and that image kind of has like stuck with me since I saw it for the first time as like a 10-year-old kid. Just that, you know, the giant chair he was in, and that was sort of really the genesis of the idea.
Brilliant. So we're now going to move on to Delete Machine. So Charlie, again, it's in my eyes, it complements quite well with deep-seated hatred that we just spoke about. And I would say with both films, actually, I'll ask this first question to both of you. Both of them gave me that kind of early 90s animation vibe where they were like throwback animation but restylized, like of early Cartoon Network, Amblin, Warner Brothers stuff. Were you both inspired by those sort of like those influences?
Well,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Not just because I love all that stuff, so I just wanted the excuse to make a film styled that way. It's
I mean,
cool.
it instantly reminded me of like Freakazoid and Pinky and the Brain and stuff like that. So that sort of style. Carry on. Sorry, Noah.
I was going to say, yeah, I also love like Genndy Tartakovsky and his sort of like UPA throwback stuff, and you know, like Samurai Jack and everything. I feel like that was also a big influence on me.
Yeah, I can see that in both films. So thank you, Noah. But back to Charlie. So how much planning and preparation, you know, went in? Because it seems like it was a massive task. So how much preparation did you do for the project?
Well, technically, we had like someone else saying earlier, our semester was split between the beginning where you're prepping for it and then the other half actually making it. So I don't know how long we had in the first semester. I can't remember, but I was thinking about this idea as soon as we finished second year and we were in summer. I was just kind of had it in the back of my head thinking about it for a while, and then just explored loads of different ideas. It went through a lot of different ideas because since I was doing it on my own, I didn't realize just how much work it would take. So the original idea was quite big, and then it gradually got smaller and more manageable. And then ended up becoming what it was in the end.
Brilliant. So the sound design in the film really stands out. I mean, again, harkening back to its influence of the old cartoons. Did you create a lot of the sound yourself, or was it, you know, pre-used stuff?
No, there was a few pre-used stuff because a few explosions I couldn't find on my own, but a lot of stuff I just made with like hands and shoes and stuff. And then that free band app you get on your iPad, like psychedelic keyboard. I don't know what I was doing, but I messed around with that to see if it's cool sci-fi noises. So anything that deletes, that's what that was. It was just the keyboard.
Brilliant. We haven't got the last one.
Yes, I just wanted to ask a similar question to Lights as well about the sound design and the process that you went through for that. They're not here. Never mind.
So I mean, got any more questions? Right. Okay. So thanks for answering all the questions, guys. I'm now going to put it out to the audience. If the audience want to ask any questions, or if you want to ask any questions amongst yourselves to each other filmmaker, feel free. So, is there any questions anywhere? Right, got a few up there. I'll bring the mic over there to these guys.
I'd like to ask Tom. There's quite a lot of variation in the animation styles and the styles of art. I was just wondering what inspirations you drew from.
So there was basically two different art styles. As you can see, there is the 17th century art style, which was more based on German expressionism, like Metropolis, Nosferatu. And you can see that the crowd of in the cathedral was more inspired of Picasso, like Guernica. So it was more to express the more demonic or monstrous aspects of the humanity at that time, and the more recent, the modern era art style is more realistic. So we directly go and assist to trial to see how the law proceeds to how a trial proceeds in general. So to have a real a trial that feel real with you can see it at the beginning. She talk about a law that is it's a real law, so we are based on real elements. Après, je sais pas comment... So it's a realistic, naturalistic art style.
Thank you very much. One more. Sorry. Yeah. Can I ask Little Hiccups? What was the initial little hiccup that inspired the film?
You mean the first one?
Yeah, it was something that happened in your life that made you think I could make a film out of that.
Yeah, so I was actually in my class doing some consultation with my lecturer, and then something happened that I think she was having a rough day that day, and then we were just chatting, and suddenly the internet just popped off without any reason. And I remember she just like, screw this, close her laptop, and she sing for a while, and then we start talking again. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is interesting. You know, we were just chatting happily, and something happened, and suddenly her face just goes, you know. And I'm thinking like, okay, how can we mix things like this? Doesn't really make, yeah. So that's the first idea, just seeing things happening from people around me. Because to be honest, I'm quite a positive person. When something bad happened to me, I always laugh, and I don't know why. So I get like that kind of, you know, gap between what happened to other people and then what I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to find like the bridge between it. And that's where like got the idea for Little Hiccups.
Any other questions?
Hi, my question is for the director of Dead Silent. I found it really interesting that your film depicted the male perspective of suicide and grief. It's rarely seen in that kind of context. I'm just interested what kind of gave you the idea of doing it in that way?
I think it was a mixture of factors. I think it was partly because before I went to film school, I had to actually go and earn some money to pay for film school because it was expensive. And I ended up working in a very predominantly male environment. And I mean, I grew up in a really female heavy family, so I'm not actually used to hanging out with much guys much. And it was just really fascinating and lovely to be part of a really lovely group of guys who were really bonded, but also the way that they showed their emotions and things, but also at the same time, I was aware, conscious of, okay, the issues that were going on, that are still going on in the UK with emotional repression in men and how that's leading to, you know, so many terrible issues. And I think it was sort of a combination of that and starting to think, okay, I want to develop a story about this. I want to find a way of expressing what it can feel like, because I'd also had my own experiences with mental health and suicide. And and finding a way of translating it. And then I also met Sean, who was my co-writer, who's also a man, and who is very much involved in things like Andy's Man Clubs, which are groups which are set up by this pair of friends who lost their brother to suicide, which is just dedicated for men who are wanting to just talk about how they're doing. And it's a space where they can express themselves, which they might not feel comfortable doing with their mates or in the pub or at home with their partners. So I think that's sort of, and me and Sean we sort of bonded over talking through about mental health and sort of developed a gallows humor through it. And I think that's sort of how I voiced that idea that I had roughly in my head, and he was like, oh yeah, I like it. And we developed it from there, really.
My second question is for the director of Little Hiccups. I guess it's kind of already been discussed a little bit, but what was your kind of favorite creature to actually create in the kind of scenario?
My favorite creature, I would say it's the door stopper one. If you watch, it's kind of iconic in a way that I'm trying to make. So you close it one, it's open again, close it one. So it's like coming up with the funny thing that it's doing every time you close the door. And the last time he's done a little bit of that push with his butt kind of thing. I think like most people laugh so much on that single scene, and I personally also like animating that scene, just making all the little movement of the body part and offset it a bit, make it really funny for some reason. Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question also to the director of Dyslexia. I found that film was really, really interesting, and I like the use of the kind of, I don't know how to explain that, the real-time animation, and then you also kind of, it seemed like you used like real paper and things like that, and they kind of slipped under. Were there kind of any difficulties in the mixture of animation?
Well, yes, and I used the green screen for some like when they're sleeping behind, and also when it's like in a more difficult scene. But also I kind of used the character that is drawn is all exported as a PNG file, so I then like combine it all in After Effects with the deleting green screens and stuff. That was kind of the part that was kind of difficult to like determine where I'm gonna use green screen, where I'm gonna leave the paper, but all the letters in the film, except for the end, are like cutout paper, are cutout animated, so they're real paper. So I have a stack of letters in my house that I cut out from different places. So that was kind of tedious and fun to do. Thank you for the question.
Oops. Hello. Just want to say well done to all of the animators here. I thought it was all brilliant. But a quick question for Mikhail. Jelly baby, did you know in advance what you were going to do to that poor baby? Do you know, I mean, like, it was so unbelievably cute. You pulled us in and we had no idea. Did you have fun with it, and did you know you were always going to have that ending?
No, the ending is the one thing that was never clear, and that was the one thing that we spent ages like. There was like an ending where what if the baby escapes and like goes through the cat flap or something, or like all sorts of endings. And I initially didn't. The funny thing about it is like I think the ending makes the film basically, but I didn't. I was actually against the idea of it at first because I wanted it to be more dark. but then like my friend kind of convinced me, and I knew, like, because the class reacted to that ending really well, it sort of made me think, okay, we gotta like bite the bullet and do the, you know, the crazy ending. But I wanted it to have a crazy ending anyway, so it sort of fit anyway, you know.
No, I thought it was brilliant. That ending just made it. It was really quite shocking, but very, very funny. So well done there.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to ask to all of the directors if you guys have social media, so any of us can follow you guys and see more of your artwork. If you guys post anything, maybe not only the selfies, but like actually artwork and maybe clips, GIFs, or anything else you guys may post around the internet. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yes, if no one answer, I know all three have social media. So I personally got Instagram. So I don't know if I tell it like this. Okay, it's Valty_animation. So Valty is VALTY.
Mine is Lise Merlaud, LISEMERLAUD. D. Très bien.
Tu veux pas donner genre ton... Okay.
Great. Is that everyone? Do any of you, the rest of you, have Instagram for your creative stuff?
Would it be okay if I just type it on the chat? So
Yeah, that's
easy.
great. Great, thank you so much. So thank you so much for attending our film festival. We hope to see some of you soon on the 22nd at Scale for our award ceremony, and hopefully some of our filmmakers will be online on Teams. And don't forget to check out all the film strands and make sure you vote for your favourites. Nice.
So yeah, once again, let's just say thank you to everybody. And if we can just get a round of applause for our filmmakers. It's been a fantastic evening. Tomorrow night we have the fiction strand. Same time, is it? Yeah, same time in here. See you. And yeah, and the award ceremony is on Friday. And yeah, please vote for your favourite films. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for having me.